Rem Money. This is our sixth edition. We started in January, February, March, April, May. Okay, all online. And this is our very first physical session. And so we're excited to have you here. Please give yourselves a round of applause for coming. Hi, Irene. I know you. If I know you, I'm going to be mentioning your name. Guys, so I'm very happy, like I said before. I'm very excited. One of the reasons why we started this mastery series was because we are very interested in SMEs. They are the backbone of the economy, right? Whatever SME it is, whether it's an MSME, a small business, a micro business, a big one, you are an SME. And we are very excited about it. And we thought to ourselves, how else can we support you guys apart from loans? You know, we give loans, right? And savings and all of that. But how else can we pass on knowledge to you guys? And that was what birthed the Business Mastery Series by Remony. And so we're very happy to have you guys here. We have guests who will be talking about marketing, talking about tech, talking about growth, talking about finance, talking about funding your business. We are going to give you everything and more. So whatever your expectations are, just ensure that you add more to your expectations, because we hope that we will fulfill all of it. All right? Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. How many people have been to that wall? You have? And really? How was it? Was it simple? It was simple. I'm angry. I'm very upset. Okay, so let me ask. It says find the biggest challenges that Nigerian businesses face, right? So what was the one you picked?
Time management.
Please, I hope our mic is on. Say that again.
Time management.
Time management. So that's something you're struggling with? Is something you're struggling with? So what are you struggling with? What's the challenge? Sorry? Visibility. So marketing. That's what you're looking for. Awareness, right? Top of mind awareness. Okay, what did you pick? Time management too? Together? Is that the only thing on the board?
It was really visible. So
It was really visible. Okay, so tell me, what challenge are you currently facing as a business person?
the funding.
Funding.
Yeah.
That's very important. You need money. We all need money. Yes, of course. Okay, so who else did that on the wall? Okay, you did.
Okay, good
No,
morning.
please sit, please. Oh,
Okay,
please
Good
sit.
morning. Ola Oluremi is my name.
Okay.
So I pick customer retention.
Customer retention. Is that a concern for you?
So actually, I saw it as a game. So I was just looking for something. So I just saw customer retention.
So tell me, what's the challenge you're currently facing as a
Well,
business?
I must say customer retention too as well.
Aha!
Yes. So maybe that is why my eyes.
You
picture
got
and
on it, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Who else? Who else? Great. What's your name? And tell me what challenge you're facing.
My name is Nafisa.
Nafisa.
Yeah.
Do I know you? I
believe
think I
we do.
know you. Great.
So I identified innovating,
Okay.
and I think that I'm not yet at a place where innovation is a problem.
Mm.
However, I think that every business has to have that top of mind. So obviously, I might not think that innovation is a problem, but maybe there's something I'm missing.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I will not do advertising for your business yet. Just yet. Who else? Okay.
All right. So like he said, I just looked for two things. I was looking for, I looked at it as a game.
Mhm.
And I was looking for a positive word.
Okay.
So I chose scaling. However, I think that it's something that I don't think it's the biggest challenge for me right now, because
Mm.
but it's probably my next step. When I so my biggest challenge right now is structure.
Mm.
So once I settle that structure part, scale. So I was like, what's the most positive word I'm looking forward to?
Scaling.
And I chose scaling.
Fantastic. Online guys, I hope you can all hear me. Please, or I want you to also answer the question I just asked. What are your biggest business challenges? Okay, your name please.
My name is Inemesit Lazarus.
Where are you from? Akwa Ibom?
Yes.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Same here. My biggest challenge now will be sales.
Sales.
Yes, sales. Yeah, but what I picked on the board was competition. It was the first thing I saw once I looked at that board. So
But do you think that competition is a challenge that you're facing?
yeah, Yes, it is, because we are so many in the line of business. So if one is not buying from me, definitely buying from the next person. So
Mm.
it is.
It is. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. Online guys, I hope you can all hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me so that I can also look at your comments. All right, please speak.
Okay, my name is Baba Fem.
Okay.
So I picked hiring.
Hiring.
Yes,
Hmm.
but at this stage, we are at the stage of restructuring slash scaling.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hiring. Okay. That's interesting for us because we are hoping that in our other online sessions, we will be able to talk about hiring for small businesses because we know that is a challenge that everyone faces. If you're just one person in your business, it's easier. By the time you get one, two people, and I think I've been seeing Instagram messages a lot. A lot of people are complaining about their sales girls stealing their money, and it's always women stealing the money. I don't. Is there something wrong? Irene, is there something wrong with women stealing the money? I know you, so I will call your name all the time. Okay. Do you have a business challenge? Okay, no. Okay. All right. So let me look at the guys online and let's see. Oh, somebody says, please increase the speaker output. Okay. All right. Let's see. Someone says manpower, like hiring, like you mentioned. Someone else says structure. Someone says access to credit. Someone says how to raise funds to start. Okay. All right. So we're hoping that today we will be able to address some of these issues that you have mentioned. You also get the opportunity to ask questions. I know that some of you already sent in your questions, right? Via email, on the WhatsApp channel. You've done all that. So we'll try our best to answer the questions. As you know, we are very timely people, right? So our webinar start at 10 and the end when, Precious? No, 11. 11. It was the last one that ended at 11:30. Yes. So we try our absolute best to start on time because we know that it's a Saturday and you guys need to be somewhere else, right? But we want to ensure that you get all the value for coming all the way here today. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming. Again, please give yourselves a round of applause. Round of applause. It's too small. All right. Is our moderator ready? Mr. Obaro Obiwewi. Or like some colleagues of mine will say, Obiwave B. Is he ready? Is he ready? All right. So while we're waiting for him, can please someone help me get Obaro? While we're waiting for him, we will talk about other things, right? So why did you start a business in the first place? What pushed you to start a business? Anybody? Precious. I know your name, so I can ask you. Why did you start a business?
Okay. My business started in the pandemic. And,
COVID.
Yeah. So we saw a need. People couldn't really access food, so we started giving the food for free. So after the pandemic, it just made sense to
Continue.
start selling the food instead. So that's
Okay.
how it started.
Okay. So tell me, I mean, you've attended all the webinars, correct?
Yeah, yes.
So has it been very valuable for you? Have any of it been very valuable for
Yes,
you?
the
Do you
price-
remember which of them do you remember very well?
Pricing.
The pricing one
then
from
the
cash trap to cash smart.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I've always thought that if my price is low, people would buy. But I took the bold step to increase my price from 25K to 40K. And I found out that people were still willing to pay for the product.
Because they saw the value.
Value, yes.
They saw the value. Great. All right. Who else wants to talk about their business? Why you started the business in the first place?
All right. So my business, I work with children with special needs.
With
Special needs, or particularly autistic children.
hard work.
And I don't.
Hard work. Trust me, I
Every
know.
work is hard, actually.
No,
No,
okay.
but interesting. I work in mainstream sector now.
Okay.
I started off working in centers and then moved into mainstream. So because when I started, it was not a very common field. at the back of my head, I knew that I felt at some point I was going to have to run it as a business. But at the time, because I worked in centers, I assumed that I would just have a center. But then I moved into mainstream education. And then at one point, I left where I was working. I was working with one child. I had done my a certification course, and my supervisor at the time said, "Do you know what? You need to go back into school. Don't just work at home. Don't just do 1 hour, 2 hours." Sorry for the long story, but that was it. I went in, being in that space, just being in the classroom with one child. There were so many children. People were calling me all the time. "Oh, I had to work with children with autism in schools. I need someone for my child." And then I know that there was that need? Yes. But was that what I thought I was going to do business in?
No.
No. Because I thought I was going to run a center. But now I decided to employ people and train them, make sure they do their certification. They do their certification courses, then they have physical trainings with me, and then I put them with children in the classroom. So that's why I started my business, because there were first I went in and then I realized that I needed to expand.
Yeah. Thank you so much. There was a need, and you sort of answered that need, right? Okay. Nafisa, why did you start your business? I mean.
So I started my business 4 years ago, and prior to that, I've worked in 9 to 5 and marketing. So I'm the kind of person who hates to wake up and have like a skincare routine. I've never had a skincare routine. I've always felt out of place. I most of the time just used to apply Vaseline, but I love scents. I love scents, and I always wanted something scented. That was my one goal. But I never got around to starting it. I saw businesses that I've loved and aspired to have a business like that scale, while I was just imagining things and wishing it was me. So when I had my son, something just clicked. I think it's just the idea of doing something that you never imagined you could do. It just sparked something in me, and then I just decided to create my favorite scent in a body butter. And before I knew it, friends were asking for it, and my mom is like, "Are you a mumu? You will not sell it." And then I packaged it, and surprisingly, we're doing very well.
Amazing.
I'm grateful to God. Yeah.
Congratulations. Congrats. Please give her a round of applause. Okay, I've asked only women. I want a man. You know I was going to come to you, right? I called him several times. Okay.
Okay, so we found a problem, and then we found a need. So we operate in between the boats. So what we do is we convert waste into protein for fish farmers and poultry farmers. So we are still at the elementary stage, because there's still a higher place where you could service feed mills and all of that. But at the moment, we're just dealing with the local farmers. Maybe when we structure better and then
scale,
we are able to scale, then we can start doing B2B.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. Please give me a round of applause, please. All right. I mean, the one thing that I noticed everybody kept on talking about was that you saw a need, right? And then you tried to give a solution to that need, right? And then you also had people around you, like her mom, who supported her and said, "Are you a mumu?" Exactly. I like that. "Are you a mumu? Please sell it," right? I've always believed that if you are into business, it's not just about making money, but also creating impact. And that's what you have done with food. You have done with body butter, which I like so much. You have done with waste for fish. I mean, so never think that you are wasting your time, okay? As long as you have seen that need and you are able to give a solution to that need, I mean, you're doing well. You're creating impact, no matter how small. All right? Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. All right. I think that we're supposed to show up a video at the moment. Show a video at the moment. Are we ready for that? Or do I call in our moderator? Somebody asked a question online. Online, guys, you know I will never forget you. Okay, someone says my biggest challenge is structure and hiring. Online guys. Akman, I'm sorry. It says, when are you going to ask from us here online? Online guys, I'm sorry. Tell me, what need did you see? And then what solutions have you come up with for that need? Okay, while I'm waiting for that, someone says my biggest challenge is government policy affecting high cost of running business, from electricity bill, cost of running diesel or petrol, high cost of raw materials. All right, online guys. Okay, I'm waiting for you. Okay, so tell me what business it is and why you started your business while the video is coming up. All right, are you ready for the video? Okay. Okay, no problem. We'll show that up later. All right, now we are just about to start our session. I'd like to invite our hosts, our moderator for the session, the head of brands and communications, Ren Money, MFB Nigeria, Mr. Obaro Obiwewi. Please give me a round of applause. Please give me a round of applause. Please, it's not loud enough. That's my boss. Please, it should be my KPI is on the line.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so very much for coming. This is very important to us at Red Money. We believe that businesses, no, scratch that. Let's use data. There are about 35 million small businesses in Nigeria. And those businesses employ 96% of the people who work in this country. So what it means is that you are literally the ones running the country. And so for us, it's important to see how do we support, how can we impact, how do we join you on that journey, to scale your business, to continue to grow the market. And that's why we're having this session today. So I will be your host for the panel. What we also decided to do was we didn't want to have people give speeches for like 30 minutes. So we're having a panel session only. We're going to get speakers from finance, from tech, from marketing, and a business owner as well who has had highs and lows to come talk and share their own experiences. And we'll take questions from you. We'll take questions from you guys as well. All right. So please, as they speak and answer questions, take note of your questions, write them down, and then someone will take those papers and we'll get them to the speakers to also take. So thank you so very much. We're getting started right now. I want everybody to be home by 12 o'clock. That's really the goal here. So thank you. All right. I've taken my own seats. So we're going to call the panelists. What I need us to do, please, as they come in, I want them to feel like they are at the White House. They are somewhere very special. So let's give them a super round of applause. Let's encourage. Let's get the room really, really hyped and active, right? Okay, so I will read out the profile for each one as I call them on stage. It's important for us to sort of know who they are, what they do, and whatnot. So the first person I'll be calling on stage to join me, and I'm starting with ladies. It's ladies first, right? Her name is Oluwatobi Shola Abiola. She runs a business called Seas Nature. Yes, you can clap, please. And as I read her profile, I want people to help me say, "Oh wow, that's amazing!" Yes, yeah, awesome. So Oluwatobi Shola Abiola, she's an entrepreneur, a business operations professional with over 15 years of experience, spanning business management, entrepreneurship, media, and leadership. She is the founder of Seas Nature and has successfully built and scaled this shea butter cosmetic business while driving impact across multiple industries. She is also known as one of the top 100 SMEs, rewarded one of the top 100 SME women in Nigeria, a recipient of several entrepreneurship grants and scholarships, meaning she knows how to get that money. right? Including the World Bank Women X program. So we're talking big time thing here, right? She's also a former co-host of TVC's Your View. If you've watched any of that show, you see she's been on that show. She's passionate about empowering future entrepreneurs through her foundation and mentorship initiatives. Please, if your hands are not too busy, please help me welcome on stage Oluwatobi Shola Abiola. Please take your seat. Take the finest seat. Okay. They say what's better than one lady? Who knows? Two ladies. Thank you. Great audience. I love it. So I'll call the second panelist. Again, you guys, we know the drill. Michelle Okoyomo. Michelle is amazing, by the way. Michelle is a finance and investment professional with over a decade experience across investment banking, private credit, investor relationships, strategic partnerships, and capital advisory. We're talking money here. We're talking money. We're talking Michelle. She has advised businesses, financial institutions, development organizations, public sector institutions on fundraising, investment readiness, capital access initiatives across sub-Saharan Africa. So we're talking global. Michelle is passionate about helping SMEs become investment ready, accessing capital, and unlocking sustainable growth opportunities. Please help me welcome on stage as well, Michelle Koyomo. Please pick the finest seat. Okay. What's better than two women? Calm down. No. All right. For balance, I guess we'll switch. We thought, let's create a balance on the panel, not just for industries, but the people as well. So are we calling in next one of my Egbons? The young Egbon. His name is Damola Bangoye. Damola is the Chief Operating Officer of Mercury. He is a business leader passionate about building technology-driven solutions for African businesses. As the CEO of Mercury, he has led the development of platforms that help businesses access and pay for critical softwares such as AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, Google Workspace. With experience, and his experience spans different industries, strategy, marketing, revenue growth, and he has done this working with brands like Fidelity Bank, Uber, Total Nigeria, just to name a few. Damola also, halftime Damola, Jesus. Damola also mentors young Africans through his leadership role at Dream Center Tribe. Please, let's help welcome on stage Damola Bangoye. Thank you. Yeah. I was going to say that we saved the best for last, but we've called all the women, so there's no such thing. However, last but not least is Ade Olufemi Peters. He is the Chief Experience Officer at LBI Insight Partners Limited. Ade has done this for over 20 years, and his experience spans advertising, branding, technology, digital transformation, business change, customer experience across Nigeria, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Guys, he has worked with leading brands and organizations, including Apple, Adidas, NHS England, Marks and Spencer, Land Rover, and Nigerian Brews. And he's being modest by not giving us the full list, by the way. Ade is passionate about designing customer-centric ecosystems that connect people, processes, and technology helping them drive business innovation, improve experiences, and achieve sustainable growth. Please welcome our final panelist, Ade Olufemi Peters. All right. Thank you all very much for taking your Saturday morning, coming from your beautiful homes and comfortable beds to come speak. We don't take it for granted. Now we'll start off with a couple of questions. We have questions here which we'll create and we'll talk about them very quickly. And my first question will be to all the panelists. I think I'll start from my left. Right? So that will be my far left. So in 60 seconds, and this question goes to everybody, but we'll take it this way. So in 60 seconds, tell us one single myth or the biggest or wrong assumption people have or SMEs have about your industry, which is on the marketing side, that they need to learn or unlearn. Something that people just assume, oh, this is not real or whatnot, that they really need to, especially to survive in the economy and the country that we're in today.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's unfortunate I'm answering this question first, so will you take it? As you can hear, I've been across industry, so I will not pick it from one, but going back to marketing, so I've done a bit in advertising and branding. And one misconception I think a lot of small businesses, smaller medium scale businesses, or even big businesses do, is continue to focus on gaining new customers alone. I say that because I'm coming into this conversation from the angle of customer experience. Now, what happens most times that I see, or to businesses I speak to, is there's an advertising budget, there's a branding budget. The goal is to be visible, and that's great, top of mind awareness and all of that. But essentially, what then happens is you continually concentrate on recruiting rather than growing relationships. Now,
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, it looks like everything don't work when it gets to me. All right, so just to wrap that up, if I've experienced your business once upon a time, I've become easier to convince to come back. Agreed? Do we agree? So to answer that question, I see a lot of business concentrating on spending a whole lot of money on branding and advertising, which is okay. Please don't quote me. It's absolutely necessary. But don't forget the customers that has already come through your line already, because they become your word of mouth advertisers. And word of mouth is the most potent and at the same time, the cheapest form of advertising. So I will be coming into this conversation as we go on from a customer experience point of view. Because if you create the right experience for one customer, they go about and tell their circle of influence about what they experienced in your business. And that begins to recruit more customers for you. So what I need SMEs to unlearn is don't just concentrate on recruiting, also concentrate on retention.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree 100%. Damola.
All right. For my specific industry, right? Or just business in general?
Your industry.
Okay.
Your industry is better.
So I would say I'll put it in two ways, right? I think it's understanding the engineering and physics of how business works. It kills more businesses than dead founders. I'm serious. It kills more businesses than literally like biological death. And let me explain. In our business, Mercury, before we started what it is today, we tried to build Shopify for Africa. I mean, this answer is timely. And I was just kind of worried, right? So because Jumia was struggling, Conga was struggling, and I was like, why will a normal SME that's trying to even figure out how to be a profitable business thrive in e-commerce in a market that is already cash heavy, right? And so one day I got pissed off. I went to the beginning of Okbebi in Ikeja. That was about a 14-kilometer walk. I knocked on every store and I administered like, normal customer interviews because I was like, I'm working too hard for me not to see the kind of speed and result I wanted. So I walked from Okbebi into streets inside Okbebi all the way to the end at Allen. I started like 9 in the morning. I finished by 6 in the evening. And I just wanted to understand why. First of all, the customers did not want to shop. Nigerian customers don't trust people. So they'll go to your website, pick out the link, go to your WhatsApp, drop the link. This is what I want to buy. So the checkout has to be documented. That's because I want to be able to say, you agree to the price, right? So customers prefer that, right? Number two, a number of these businesses did not, what's the right way to say it? In our business, there's something called product market fit. That's when your product strategy, pricing, and the market align, and you have more demand. You have more demand than you're able to supply, and so you're supposed to use technology to cover that gap and scale the opportunity you just realized. But for most SMBs in Nigeria, they are trying to find what that product market fit looks like, right? They don't have a heavy surge of demand. They're just trying to figure themselves out, right? Those two forces, right? And then last week or so, or this week, Meta released, and I've been suspecting because I told all my colleagues that we're not competing against Shopify or WordPress. We're competing against Meta, the biggest checkout engine in Nigeria, in Africa, and particularly in India, are DMs, right? But we didn't understand the engineering, so we're killing ourselves. And so out of frustration, we said, what do customers really want from all our conversations? They wanted customers themselves. So we just tried something for a product that we've had since the beginning of the startup. We have had it, we didn't take it seriously. So we tried it, we put it out. There was an article out there on it. And in the first month, I was the API. I was doing everything. In the first month, what we netted was more than what we grossed in the previous year, right? So we had a beautiful problem. Unfortunately, I was like the only person running it. I had emotional crashes because the pressure was much. We had Nigerian customers and don't tell anybody. At the time, we had Asians rushing the product. We did not know why. And quite frankly, I didn't give a crap. I just wanted their money. So, because what one Asian customer was spending a day was what 10 Nigerians would spend in a month. I really didn't care about whatever you were doing.
Sorry. I mean, the short one line for me is what you're looking for in Sokoto is literally in your Sokoto.
You already have it. So, but you just need to understand what's demand looking like, what is supply looking like, not what you assume. Actually go and ask these people themselves. Then you need to study like the engineering, unit economics, customer development, Yeah.
Thank you so much, Damola. You unpacked a lot already. All right, Toby, lower Toby, please.
Good afternoon or morning, everyone. Thank you for having me, Rain Morning. And you audience, you look amazing. Please a round of applause for yourselves. So back to the question, right? Okay, my husband is somewhere in the audience too.
Lovely. Men supporting women.
Okay, thank you so much. So for me, right, if I'm asked about one myth, and I think that that's general with all SMEs or MSMEs, we say that the government policy does not affect my business. It won't affect my business. The government is out for the big guys, right? And me, I'm just small in my own space. Concern me. That's a big myth, right? And I'll drill down to my industry. The shea butter. Okay, so I sell shea butter in strawberry, vanilla, minty, and native variants. Okay, so in August of 2025 last year, the government had put up a 6-month temporary ban to say that there won't be export of raw shea nut, right? That you can only export the finished product. Now imagine an MSME that's maybe stocked up 8 months before that, because as a result of the fact that the nuts were being exported, the butters became expensive because the pickers, the rural pickers, right, they couldn't access as much nuts to produce. So they were producing, but it was expensive because there's somebody that came from maybe, I don't want to mention any country now before they come for me, right, would sweep off the shea nuts, go to export, and we as the ones that grow, we have limited products, raw materials to produce, right? And so the ban came, and guess what? Life changed for we shea butter manufacturers, because the shea nuts that were now very expensive and hard to find because some people were packing it out of Nigeria became very available. Now imagine for an MSME that has bought at the expensive price, and then somebody has put up a policy saying that XYZ, you cannot export. And you're looking at stock that you have bought at how much? How does it affect your business, right? And I think there are a lot of SMEs or MSMEs need to pay attention. I know that we say that the government, they're in their own space. Let's just do our own thing. They don't, but those things matter. And so the ban was first for 6 months and was supposed to, people were thinking it was going to relapse by February of 2026. And guess what the government did? The government said this thing is going to go on for 1 more year to February 2027. And so prices that were high up there has now become very available because the government wants us to produce and refine before we export. Let me burst your bubbles. According to Premium Times, right, Nigeria produces about 40% of the world's shea nut. But guess what? We are only producing 1% of that. We are only refining only 1% of that, right? So you can imagine what the government was thinking in their minds. And then there's an SME saying, I'm not selling shea butter in my own little space, so it no concern me, right? And I think that for every sector here represented, you would find a similar story for your industry, except you don't want to pay attention. So I'm kind of like directing our attention to policies, right? To what the government is saying. If it no fine, if it no make sense at the time, but it's important that as entrepreneurs, we must listen to what the government is saying. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Powerful. All right, Michelle.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, again, and thanks for having us. So from a finance perspective, as Obaro had said earlier, I'm a finance professional, and it's twofold. So a lot of SMEs say there is no funding. Funding is scarce. And they also have this perception that funding will solve their problem. But when you look at the global, the regional, and even within the Nigerian market, like in terms of the investment landscape, there's capital. a lot of capital, whether it's infrastructure funds, whether it's developmental capital, whether it's commercial banks. A lot of banks have now introduced a lot of SMEs. Yes, we can talk about the structural challenges around collateral and all, but then again, there are a lot of mechanisms that are being put in place. For instance, blended finance, guarantee structures. But the question is, the point is there is capital. Pension funds, angel investors, trade finance, invoice financing, there's a whole lot of capital. So the question is it that there's a gap in capital, or is it that SMEs are not positioning themselves to unlock this capital? And that's where the case of investment readiness has come into play, because a lot of SMEs, when you see them, they will say, okay, when I get capital, I'll be able to do this, I'll be able to do this. So in my previous life, I used to be a private equity investor, specializing in private credit, which was just debt, but private investors. And there were two opportunities in the healthcare space we were looking at. One, was a primary healthcare center that had chains of about 11 branches, hub and spoke model, so different healthcare businesses, branches. And they wanted to raise money. So their story was, we need to scale, we need to scale, we need to scale. And we were considering them. Then on the flip side, there was another, primary and secondary healthcare facility that had about 5 to 6 branches, and they wanted to scale. And when we looked at, the operating models of both, the one that had about 11 had gotten any type of concessional capital you want to think about. Is it grant funding? Is it philanthropic funding? Is it DFI funding? That's development finance. So your DBN, like your BOI, like your IFC, they've gotten every type. Melinda Gates, they've gotten everything. But guess what? They weren't profitable. They weren't cash flow positive. And they kept on saying, we want to scale. And we were like, do you not think you should go back to your operating model and understand why you're not profitable? Why you're not? So it was, what it seemed to me is that they had become there are some businesses that are good at raising capital. That's their business model. Their budget is just to flip capital. They're not really doing anything. They're just flipping capital. So because they had I'm not even overestimated, they had about 15 different investors across commercial capital, across catalytic capital, grant capital. They had so many, but they weren't profitable. But on the flip side, we had this one that had 5, 6 health centers, and they were profitable in every branch. And so when we took a deep dive, we understood that they had understood their cost DNA, down to every consultant that they hire was factored in the medical procedure pricing. So if they were going to be doing a blood work, the cost of syringe, the cost of X-ray, the cost of the nurse was factored in pricing. So that was easy for them to replicate it. So obviously it was a no-brainer to invest in that. So bringing it back home, in terms of the meat, a lot of SMEs think there's no capital, but there's capital. Capital chases discipline, credibility, bankability. So the question is, you think that you will be, when you get funding, you become investment ready, but no, it is when you are investment ready that funding comes. Have you noticed that the big companies, how is Dangote chasing people to put money in? I mean, is Money Point chasing people to? So let's look at it. So the question is, SMEs need to do a lot of work in becoming investment ready. So the last point I'll just make is, capital is not scarce. You need to position yourself, and we'll talk about what frameworks investors look at to become bankable.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's Jesus. The opener is there's money. I think that's the point, right? Okay. So next question will be for Toby and Michelle. Gentlemen, I'll be with you in a minute. So we know inflation is on the rise. The impact of that is also the fact that people's purchasing power is depleting. And as a business owner, when you see the inflation rising, people can no longer afford to buy things as much. Even for you, running the business is expensive. If you had to strip down your business, and say, I want to keep at least, there must be this one tool, this one asset, this one thing that is non-negotiable that I must have so that I'll remain competitive, or at least I can still sell in the market. What's that one thing technically that you should never do without?
So again, we're in the lens of an investor, someone who has worked on the buy side and the sell side. So basically, investment banker, we basically package businesses for investors, and as an investor, we assess opportunities. It's always about financial visibility for an investor, which means how are you making money, where's the money going to, and how are you generating profits, and how you are making sure that you're cash flow positive. And when I'm talking cash flow, I'm not talking about raising money, cash flow. I'm talking about operating, operating cash flows. So any sort of investment that we'll be making in a business, it has to be something that is either increasing customer base, something that is either, optimizing operations, reducing cost. So it has to be something tied to financial visibility. That's the non-negotiable for an investor, because investors don't invest in ideas. They invest in bankability. They invest in bankable numbers. So for me, it's financial visibility. So most times as an investor, we don't like cash outs. We like cash in. So cash out is when you're using your money to, pay maybe a lender. We want money that comes into the business that is actually adding value. So is either you're increasing your customer base so that you can increase your revenue? Is either you're increasing your asset base, and not just exciting acquisitions, but assets that actually tie to bottom line is what I would say is the non-negotiable financial visibility.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Toby.
I'm not exactly sure what to add to that, right? But one thing Michelle had mentioned, was customers. She put customers somewhere in between the conversations, right? And as a business owner, somebody that has come to buy from you trusts you enough to put their money in your business, to say, yes, I'm exchanging this, my ad-end money, for your product, for your service, right? So for me, I think that the number one asset is your customer trust. The trust that your customers have about you and your business, right? And in reality, Nigerians, I think all over the world, so we're calculating how much, right? Especially based on our peculiarities in Nigeria at this time. We're not spending lavishly. A large chunk of people are not spending lavishly, right? So if somebody has come to you, the person trusts you. So I feel like your customers already have your interest at heart. They trust you enough. And if you hold your customers tight, you're not spending extra on customer acquisition. He mentioned it briefly when he was speaking also. You're not spending any extra cost of customer acquisition. They already are existing, right? And flowing from that, you have your database as well. So that's why you see that even nowadays, before, if you go to supermarket, you buy and you go. But now, they would ask you for your phone number. Sometimes they even say, what's your email address? If you go to a pharmacy, they are asking you for the details, for your details, because they know that it's important for them to keep in touch with you, right? So for SMEs, if you're not already building your customer database, intentionally do so. As basic as it is, your WhatsApp contact list is your database, somehow. And then you can begin to build on that. And I'll spill briefly to social media, your following is not your customer base. Because if the owners of the platform they shut down, what happens to your 100,000 followers? All the followers that were saying we don't have our this one. So the real thing, if you have a website and then the backend takes your data, that data that you have is one asset that you shouldn't compromise on. So I would encourage all entrepreneurs here today to please take their customer trust seriously and then intentionally begin to build their customer database as well. That's the CRM. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Okay. And it's interesting you ended on this note, because the question I wanted to ask is very, very close. And I'll go to Ade right now. So a lot of businesses, and I find it very interesting, when they start the business, the first thing they do, open Instagram, open TikTok page, start to run ads, and whatnot. Realistically, does every business need to start run ads, or do you think that there's some niches that are just throwing money away or going with the bandwagon, or are they getting this journey right?
Okay, that could take me an hour to talk about.
You have 1 minute or two.
I'm trying to think of how to navigate this simply and very practically. Now, social media is hype. It's the coolest thing to be on. Before, Instagram was a website. You had to have a website. Now, Instagram has almost taken the position of website because of convenience. Now, I think for every SME, where the question should start is not inside, it should be outside. Who is your customer? Who is your product going to talk to? What are the connection points to be able to hit the customer? So I'll give you an example. I'm looking for a Lamborghini. Have you seen a Lamborghini ad on TV? Or Rolls Royce? Where do they market? So they market, they find what is called connection points. If you want to get to me and I hang out, maybe let me do free advertising, I don't know, anywhere, just a lounge, and you want to get to me, you know, where's the most realistic place to put your stuff? Maybe on the table, off the reception, off the place I go to every day. Okay, so to answer your question, TikTok is not for every brand. Neither is Instagram for every brand. If you're doing financing like Michelle was talking about, you can't be on TikTok and expect to develop brand equity. You will develop visibility, but does that translate into profitability for your business? So what I want to leave with you with this question is, you must understand the voice of customer in your business. If you sell shea butter, you must understand, I'm using that as an example. Now think of a think of a wig seller, hair wig sellers. What do you think the lady coming to buy the wig is buying? Is it product? Is it emotions? Or is it value? If you think about that for a second, how do we buy products? What comes into your head when you're about to actually decide that I'm buying this? You realize it's hugely emotions. Emotions of what you've heard about the product, what you've seen, it's in front of you, the packaging and all of that. So essentially, businesses are selling feelings and emotions. A wig seller is selling that view when that lady puts the wig on. She wants to look a certain way. That's why she's wearing the wig, not just for the sake of the wig. So I say that to say, you must understand who you want to speak to. If you're speaking to a 16 to 18-year-old, by all means, live all your life on TikTok. If you're selling to people higher, if you're selling to 45 to 65, where should you be? Do you understand? So it's about understanding your customer profile. It's about understanding the voice of customer. And this translates either you're large scale, medium scale, or small scale. Apple understands their customers. That's why they never spend too much money on advertising. By the time iPhone 18 is out, you have queues at the door. What do? I've worked with them, so I can tell you this for free. They take customer feedback. So what is it you want to do on the iPhone 17 that you cannot do today? They take that feedback. And guess what? iPhone 18 has that. So it's a no-brainer. So they don't need to go on TikTok or Instagram, or even if you go on the, has anybody been on the Apple Instagram page? What do you see? Has anybody? You see, and they're the biggest brand in the world. You use their phones. When you go on their Instagram page after now, or you could check it now, you never even see anything about advertising phones. You just see pictures. So they're telling you what their product can do, because Apple has taken technology into lifestyle. So you can now check your blood sugar on your phone, or your Instagram, or your blood pressure and all of this. So it's about, how can my product sit firmly in the lifestyle of my proposed client base. Then find out where they hang out. They hang out on Facebook or they hang out on Snapchat. Do what you need to do. It's your business. I don't know if that answers the question.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Great question. Great answer. Very great answer. Okay. I wanted to sub, but no subs. All right. My next question will be for Damola and Toby. Everybody today in this room, probably in the world, does something with AI. In fact, on WhatsApp, if you get a WhatsApp message without opening it, if you look, WhatsApp has summarized the message for you to tell you what is likely inside, right? And that's AI in everything, in your keypad, in your notepad. AI is literally everywhere. For me, I think a lot of people are still stuck with ChatGPT, just going to type email. How do I do the basic things? But there's more to AI. So can you maybe give us one tool, two tops that are low scale that a business person should absolutely be using if it helps them cut costs, if it helps them do whatever, but something, and maybe Toby, you can share something from your end as well on that.
All right. I think that's an interesting question. I don't know if you guys have seen that quote that anyone who hasn't finished their Claude tokens by 12 noon wasted their morning. It's an African proverb. Simplest one costs you $20 a month. Pay for Claude. Co-work. Use co-work on Claude. Make sure Claude has every information about you. If you're buoyant enough, go for the $100 a month subscription. Whether it's a day job or a business, just think of it as a PhD who happens to work for you as an intern. Pay for Claude. Literally.
Thank you. And I was just share my tiny Claude experience. In 2023, I did a course for 3 months on data science, and my final project was to build a platform that could offer you loans based on your performance and whatnot. And that project took about a month to do because I had to do SQL, I had to do all the thing. 2023. In 2026, in a space of 1.5 hours, I typed that same project into reality on Claude. Literally just wrote, I want to do a platform that can do this. Tell me what I need to impute. It says, put this, put this. I said, I want to have this on my laptop so I can access anytime. It says, convert to HTML, type HTML. I typed, project was done. The same project I spent $500,000 for in 2023, $20. I could do in a 1.5 hour on Claude. So 100% I agree with you. Thank you.
See, this thing you are saying, I feel so. Let me share my story. You know, all these social media ads that they say in 28 days, this thing will change your life. How many people have seen it? You've seen it, Abby. You stay and watch it, and you'll be like, God, I beg. This thing followed me so bad that there was a particular day I was sleeping, and I woke up. I remember that ad. I looked at my children, and you know the question that came to my mind? If these children are older now, in 10 years' time, they will now tell me that, Mommy, what were you doing when your mates were signing up for this thing? You know, that's how we used to say to our parents too, that what were you? That day, I signed up for for Cursive. I did that day. And see, when the ad says, in 28 days, you will feel unstoppable. It's not beans. Like, it's for real. Hey God, these people did not pay me to be saying
this is great advertising.
But that's the truth, right? And the question says that beyond chat GPT prompts, we are mostly used to, I want to write this email, help me reward, help me do X, Y, Z. But I'll still use that chat GPT, right, as an example. Now, there's something called projects on chat GPT, where you can start a project, feed ChatGPT with all the information you need, all the files you need, X, Y, Z, upload it, and tell it that for this conversation, for this project, these are the materials that I want you to work with. And for every conversation you have, you are referencing that material. It is helping you check through those materials, and it is giving you information based on what you've given it. It's like you've customized the tool for yourself, right? And I think that a lot of people are sleeping on AI, and that's the same with Claude too. You can do everything. In fact, almost everything. You can't maybe feed a child with AI, but you get my point. And I think that there are times when we need to go beyond what is general information, dig deep. I don't think a lot of entrepreneurs really want to. They'll rather just say, who is available to pay 40K? You know, and that person, like he has said, would use 1 month to deliver on something that can be achieved in a shorter time, and then you're complaining that this thing that I've said you should do, why have you, because you two, you've worked that same experience. You don't know, say this thing takes a lot of time. But once you've engaged your mind, you've gone through AI trainings, you can see that life can be easier for you, right? So I think for entrepreneurs, please, one thing, if you would not live with anything, please go back to sit. If you see that ad, sign up. Just, if it no can work, just imagine that you were scammed. Yeah, have you not done MMM before? Why have we just assume like that? The Lord will help us in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oluwatobi. Amazing, amazing. Yes, take that one home. Okay, this question for Michelle, and maybe Toby will touch on it if she wants. So, this is a very interesting story. I think you already spoke on this a bit, but I want us to drill down a little bit more. So think of inflation cost again, right? Inflation is, I think, double digits, yes. Monetary policy rates, 26+%, so lending is high. Everything is difficult. So a business owner who goes to buy raw materials today at 10 naira, by the time he goes back tomorrow, that raw material is now 25 naira, right? What then happens is the business owner has to increase their selling price so they can maintain profits. The ripple effect is your customer who comes to buy every week now comes once every month. And who used to buy 10 items is now buying 1, right? Now, this is the dilemma. How does a business person keep their customer, but also still remain profitable? Because if you keep increasing your price every day, then nobody will come. But if you reduce the price, then you'll run at a loss. How do you find that balance?
So I will share some. Thank you. So I would speak from what we've seen, from the investor's lens, and also personal experience, like what I've seen other SMEs do. So, I mean, the default mode is just to quickly increase your pricing, but that shouldn't necessarily be the default mode because, for instance, me, when I go to the supermarket, there was a time in my life where I used to have 5 different types of bread. So I will have, because I'm a bread person, so I will have sliced bread. I will have the shawarma on living bread. I have the burger buns. I have pepper soup buns. And I think I'll have what else again? There were 5 different breads. At some point, Michelle, you don't really need, because at the end of the day, I will share it out. So I then went from sliced bread to burger bun. Now I don't even have bread in my fridge because I went from buying bread at 900. I buy bread from Black Pearl. It's like 2.5 now. And I'm just like, wait, I don't understand. I'm spending almost like 10,000 on bread. That is not even healthy for me. So I don't even have bread. In fact, if you come to my fridge now, it's probably empty because now I was telling my friend, I eat when I'm hungry. Because if you leave me, I would just be binging. I don't really eat a lot, but I eat like I'm peckish. I'm always eating, right? And that's the trap. So I don't have bread now. So what I'm trying to say is that when prices increase, you just realize that things that you thought you couldn't do without, you just start picking. It's the same thing. You go to the supermarket, you see brands. At some point, you're like, I don't think I really need to be using this, high-end brand. I can manage budget brand. Before you know it, customer patterns start to change. So as a business, what would be the preferred option would be value optimization or value protection. And there are multiple ways that this can be done. So you think about selling in smaller sizes, so shrinkflation, right? So at some
Sorry,
point,
say that word again.
shrinkflation, inflation. So it's shrinkflation, exactly. So it's just basically reducing sizes. You know, Aquafina has a smaller size, right? You know, Cowbell sells things in sachet. It's probably more expensive when you buy smaller, but the fact that it's smaller, and rather than dropping 5,000 naira, you're paying 500. But you know that 500, by the time you do the math, you're probably spending 10,000 naira for the same value. But because at that point I want to purchase it, it's cheaper. So it's an easier entry point, right? So that's one model. Exactly. Now, the second model is subscription. So rather than just throwing, we all spoke about AI platforms now. Rather than paying 20 times $240 one off, $20, $20. And guess what? You see subscription models as if you pay one off, it's lower, but if you pay this is, it's higher. But when you do the multiply, when you annualize it, you see that that's monthly subscription. It's probably more than when you pay. Again, these are models, but it's the same thing when you take a mortgage or you take a loan. You end up paying more at the end of the day than if it was a one-off. Then bundles, so bulk buying. So rather than buying your materials small chunks, why don't you? So I have a client of mine who is into contract manufacturing, and because of lack of capital and poor credit terms with her clients, she didn't have enough capital to bulk buy. And you find that with the whole Iran-America issue, like prices were just moving fast. And because she wasn't buying bulk, so what yesterday's price wasn't today's price. So it was horrible. And then she's selling to margin markets, like your margin supermarkets who are selling to mass markets, and they can't really. So she was stuck. So so we're like, what, we need to, any customer you have now, you have to tell them they have to pay you 50% upfront so that you have that bulk capital to pay your suppliers. Or you have to tell your suppliers, I'm going to buy in bulk, so you give me better credit terms as opposed to cash on carry. You see what I'm saying? Also, I support agribusinesses, especially exporters. So we find that if you engage with a lot of small holding farmers, they tell you cash and carry. Like you have to, if you're trying to buy cocoa, they tell you pay for the cocoa on spot. But we're coming up with models where we're saying, okay, you know what? Let's enter into a JV structure with the trader. The trader already has offtake. We'll give you some upside, right? So rather than just selling to me at maybe 4.4 million per ton, let's, that 4 million per ton, we'll give you upside based off of what our offtaker takes. So these are some models. Then you also have loyalty program. I see this loyalty program, they've caught me with it. So there's this particular company that I buy food from. At some point I say, what, why am I spending almost 8,000 a day buying lunch? I eat once a day. So I was like, I'm not buying. Then they sent me, ma, you have loyalty. Your loyalty, based on what you spent in the last 6 months, you have about 22,000. I said, 22,000. Okay, now. So I started ordering. I said I wasn't ordering from them again. You won't believe me that I started using my 22,000, but they were very smart. When I ordered, my bill was like 11,000. I was like, but I have 22,000. They said, ma, the limit is you can only spend 7.5 a day. Smart people. So I ended up, additionally adding 5K every day till I used up my. But I thought that was a very smart model, because at this point I was like, well, this 8K, maybe I should go and be looking for 6,000, 5,000 hour food. But because of the loyalty model, they tied me in. Other models, faster inventory turnover. See how you can quickly, especially if you're in a margins business, when you are able to turn around your capital, over time you average out, and it sort of smooths out your profitability. So yeah, I think those are some of the models that I would look into. Yeah. And then remove wastage. There are a lot of things that SMEs do that you can actually do without. So do you have to print? You can use technology. We've spoken about AI, and it's not that AI will completely take people's jobs. And a caveat is AI is really an intelligence enabler. So if you put stupidity inside AI, you will get stupidity. So people need to understand this, that if you put rubbish, you will get rubbish. So so think of how you can also optimize your processes. So something that would take you like 5 days to turn around, you can do it in 2 days. And that means that you can turn around capital real quick. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
In addition to all she has said, is that for SMEs and MSMEs, my encouragement is always to move closer to the raw material. I don't mean start a business close to your raw material. If that works for you, fine. But know the source of where your raw material is coming from, right? So I remember when we started Tease Nature, one of the things we did, myself and this my husband, sorry, my boyfriend did that. Then, right? So we went to Oyo State, lived with the rural women for a few days, understood the process of what extracting shea butter looks like. You know, we recorded videos, we established relationships with the rural women, such that it's been 10 years now. That experience, we've had a few trips after that, but that experience made us really, really stand out in our pricing, right? Even for the fact that we even now share the story on social media, we now saw that other cosmetic manufacturers that don't have energy to be doing rural women mission, they now started buying from us. Why? Because they trusted us. They saw the videos, they saw the pictures. We were able to get at a good price because they could put a face to the brand. We had cut out every middleman that exists. And by so doing, you are able to get more profit on the business that you run. And it's the same for services too as well. If you want to do something, you're not looking for maybe like the big organization that does something, right? I want to, for example, run a marketing, blah, blah, blah. Instead of going to a big, you can look for one person that can still achieve the same thing for you. If you're an MSMT, I mean, till you are like rent money, you know. But in the meantime, you know, that's really, really how it is. So I think that for MSMEs, SMEs, go as deep as possible to where your raw material is. Establish relationship with the people that extract your raw materials. And you would see that even when there's a price increase, there's a seasonal demand for the product. So for shea butter now, it's not available all year round. It's a seasonal product. So because of the relationship we've had, they're already saying, oh, by August, XYZ would happen. Are you sure we shouldn't store up for you? Are you sure we shouldn't, you know? And because of that relationship, we've seen that all year round, we're able to get our raw materials. Even when there's government policy, we're always at the edge of surviving. Not at the edge, we're surviving, right? Because those things have been put in place. So that's my contribution to what Michelle has said.
Thank you very much, Oluwatobi. Okay, gentlemen, I'll come back to Ade. This for me, I find interesting. So I think in the world, but maybe Nigeria, they say word of mouth is the strongest form of advertising, right? If someone says a product is good to you, your friend, you will likely go and buy that product versus if you had seen a billboard somewhere. Now, how does a business person who, for example, have great customers who talk about it, how do I maximize that potential? How do I scale this word of mouth? So, I mean, as against doing the generic market.
Okay. I was hoping you don't ask me inflation questions. All right. So for me, how did I even come about customer experience? I've done tech. I've been in true sectors. And again, working for Apple is where the melting point of tech experience and people kind of made that full circle for me. And when you look at the biggest businesses and the smallest businesses, there's something that is same. What's the biggest business in Nigeria? Okay, Dangote is about the richest man. What does he sell? Sugar, spaghetti, some of us salt. You know, some of us are even too proud to sell salt. What does Otedola sell? A finance. So when you look at these things, you realize that the packaging looks very complex and very premium. But when you scale it down, I promise you, when you go into the refinery, there is one of the dirtiest places to work. Even though I'm sure they have controls as to cleaning and stuff. But why I'm saying that is businesses are same, either big or small. And I have a passion for small business because two things are always playing in that game of SMEs. One is visibility and two is money. Let's face it. Are we right? Okay. Now, if money is also the issue, advertising is not cheap. Advertising is not cheap. So I'm speaking to that SME who literally started the business with the last 200K in their account. No matter how much of advertising, gymnastics I tell you, you don't have the money. So let's face what you are left with. It's word of mouth. And now the question is, what's the power of one customer? Because what we all, including myself, is tuned into is you want to blow. You just want your business to blow. You want to be on Instagram saying, I started this business and in 30 days it turned around. But does it work that way? So let's be real. What is the power of one customer? I was speaking to a business over the week and they were so into walk-ins, the number of people walking into the store. And I said, okay, what's your daily target? It was about 2 million. That's a daily target. I'm like, so how many customers do you need to serve to get to 2 million? Oh yeah, maybe 30 or 40 customers. And I'm like, you're getting it a bit wrong. You need the right kind of customer to come in. A customer, so 2 million divided by 10 is what? 200K. Yeah, so are you packaging your products in ways that people can come in and pick in bulk rather than just single items because they sell gifts? Do you get? So simple tweak. They started to put gifts into creative packs. So when people come in, they see boxes everywhere. So rather than coming in to say, I just want to buy a perfume, now you're seeing a box of perfume, this and that. So from a 50K budget coming in, they're paying 250. So what am I saying? Customer experience is about what your customer feels about your operations. Because a lot of business concentrates on how I want to serve the client. That's great. But what is the client feeling about how you serve them? It's simple. I use this example and I'll close on this. As a guy, if I am going up to speak to a lady, what am I doing? The way I present and speak to myself determines if the lady will say yes or no to me. Do we agree? So it's not about what I have. If I have all the money and I come and I'm rude and I talk anyhow, would she say yes? Good. But if she says yes because I present well, what's she going to do? She probably is going to go tell her secular friends that I now have a boyfriend. Agree? Relationship is the same as business. That's why when I started, I said a lot of people concentrate on recruiting people into the house. Imagine this is a house. You just concentrate on speaking to strangers to come into the house. And as they come in, you forget them because you are back at the door looking out to bring the next person in. The power of one customer will lead you to word of mouth, because if you treat one person well, I might have 200 other people who believe in what I say. And you're not paying for that because I'm taking my big mouth to go say that if you go buy from that person, trust me, just trust me. You know how we say it? Just trust me. Once you enter there, the rest is history. And the curiosity will bring them to your store. But the question is, how do you treat that person? So remember, customer service in Nigeria is popular. Customer service is what your business tells you to do to your customer. When they want to ask for a refund, tell them it's not our policy. You've heard that before. Oh my God. Yeah, I want refund. It's not our policy. That's customer service. Customer experience is about what I feel about you telling me is not your policy. And that determines if I come back or I tell my legion of followers. Just as you said, I might have 200K followers and I drag you. So you just lost 200 potentials. So word of mouth is free, but very difficult to get to. You have to commit to it from day one. And finally, as a business owner, you have to be real with yourself. Are you in this business just to make money, or you want to grow this brand. It's very simple. If you're in it to make money, be everywhere, do whatever you want. If you want to grow it, it takes slow, long-term approaches. But the simple point is the customer standing in front of you per time, treat them like you're talking to 200 other people, and they'll go tell that story to their sphere of influence in their words, and you will benefit for that.
Thank you so much, Ade, for that. That was customer experience. Yeah, I think that's the word to take out, from that answer. Okay, something a bit more technical, and I want to talk to you, Michelle. Right, it's so technical I have to read. Right? I don't know. A lot of us are probably familiar with VCs, venture capitalists. It's one of the most thrown around words in the world, like, oh, VC, oh, raising funds. You hear a lot of that, right? Does this apply to the average business person? Does it apply to every type of business? Can every kind of business access this money? This thing that people are hearing, and they're hearing people are raising money. Maybe they heard Money Point raise money, and then I'm like, oh, I can get it too. Does it apply to them? If it doesn't, if it does, let's know how. If it doesn't, they still need funds. So where can they access their own funding, and how do they position?
To start with, right, if you are an SME and you're not tech enabled and your ultimate goal is not to get large number of subscribers and not be profitable, you have no business looking for venture capital. So in terms of venture capital, it is high risk, high growth business model. So when I was in private equity, we had multiple investment strategies, and one of our investment strategy was venture capital. And the investment thesis was, out of every 10 investment that is made, there's only one that will be successful, and it should be a unicorn. That particular fund invested in 54 genes. I'm sure you all know what happened to 54 genes. That same investments fund invested in one of the biggest AI platform, I forget the name, out of Africa, that was acquired by a foreign brand. So the point I'm making is that the business model, the investment model of venture capital doesn't fit with the SME strategy. It's as simple as that. Because when a venture capital comes in, what he's looking at is looking at exits, and he wants to exit maybe within a 5 to whatever time horizon, and he wants to get out. So if you're an SME and you're just, you have a very slow business model, little margins, and then somebody is telling you get money and, expand. That's why you see that a number of them fail, because first of all, they even do a lot of fictitious valuation that is based on subscription. I don't know how a business will be successful based on no cash flows, no profitability, but just number of stores, number of customers. You made a point around getting people in. If the people are coming in and they are just, they're coming to take picture, you see some restaurants, they say, please, they don't even allow pictures because they want, and they have a minimum spend. You come in, you say minimum 100,000. So they have already told you who their clients are, because there's diesel that they have to pay every day. There's VAT they have to pay. There's so many things. So they don't want you to come and occupy space. So I think one thing SMEs mix up, right? I want capital. I think the question is, what type of capital do you need? So yes, there's the myth of there's no capital. Capital will solve my problem. In terms of when you say capital will solve my problem, you're like, your business has poor models, poor controls, no customer, you haven't validated your model. What capital does is it amplifies your problems. And that's what, when I gave the example of the primary healthcare, that, they had over 10 branches and they had all the concessional capital. At gross margin level, they were already negative. I mean, if you're doing a business and your gross margin is negative, you shouldn't even be in business, because what it means is that you have not even understood how you can break even as a business. That's the starting point. So let alone generate profit, right? Or become cash flow positive. So
the questions SMEs need to ask is, what is the capital that is best suited for my business? And how do you know this? Your business model, right? Are you in processing? Are you in manufacturing? Are you a trader? What business stage are you? Are you early stage? If you're an early stage and you haven't even proven concept, you have no business going to a bank, because on day one, if they don't give you moratorium, you have to start paying interest. So you have no business. So you need to go and look for friends and families to validate your business concept, right? Now, if you're a high margin business and maybe you're not necessarily a high asset based business, and maybe I'll use an agro exporter, you don't really need to have, you're not processing anything, you're just procuring from smallholders, farmers, doing some little processing, cleaning, putting in warehouse, and you are exporting. You don't need an asset heavy term loan. All you need is an OD, an overdraft. You probably need trade finance. So it's very important you understand. So you need to understand your cash flow. How frequent do I get money? So that when you're taking a loan, you can sculpt your loan. So if your business is seasonal and you get money every maybe 2 months or every 3 months, there's no point taking a loan that you pay interest on a month-to-month basis. You need to structure it. So it's called sculpting. You need to sculpture your cash flow so that it aligns with how your cash flow is coming. So for instance, a university that has 4 terms or 3 terms, I don't remember what it is, but 3 terms, right? If you go and take a loan and you are paying interest rates every month, is that on arrival? You have to sculpture cash flow repayment, right? Interest repayment based on when school fees are paid. So it's all about understanding my business model, my business stage, how early are you mature? Now, if you are an early stage and you have no business going to private equity, because private equity, they'll tell you that my minimum, where I used to work, we had different strategy. We had the SME strategy, we had the large strategy. And the minimum ticket size for some can be $5 million, some can be $20 million. A business that is still trying to say, a client of mine that approached me, she was like, I'm reaching out to IFC, I'm reaching out to BII. I was like, honey, what is your turnover? Like, your turnover is not even up to $1 billion. What business do you have going to meet an investor that is telling you my minimum investment is $20 million? If you're collecting $20 million as loan, you have to be doing nothing less than 100 billion naira in turnover. So I'm like, so you're just constituting a nuisance in their inbox. I'm sorry to say. So SMEs need to understand what capital fits me. What is my business model? What's my business stage? What is my cash flow profile? What is my margin profile? If your margins are thin, maybe you should explore equity financing. What is my leverage ratio? So you need to start understanding my debt to equity ratio, my interest coverage ratio. All of these things are very important so that you don't go and take capital that is now a problem to you. So I think venture capital doesn't fit with the SME strategy. So you have different. So if you are, maybe you're in supply chain and you have off-takers. So I give you an example. Let's say you provide some sort of, vendor product or something to MTN. You have an invoice or purchase order that you get from MTN. There are so many supply chain guys that can give you, basically they're financing counterparty risk, right? Because you have like a credible off-taker, and that is a transaction. So you don't need to do balance sheet funding and go and pledge collateral that you don't have, and they ask you for your mom and your dad. But you have a high multinational who is your off-taker. That already is credibility. So in the trade finance transactions, I advise a lot of agro players. What they look at is, some of them will say, I will only finance transactions from a certain region. If it's Asia, if it's Middle East, they don't really honor contracts sometimes. They can just come and say they're not doing. But if you have an off-taker, maybe in the cocoa sector, Barry Caliber, Tuton from France, the European and the Northern America, they would, because that's credit worthy. These are big brands that are listed on the New York Stock Exchange, or, they would finance those kind of things. So it's very important that you go back, and that's why they're financial advisors. You go back and understand what works for you so that you don't get yourself into trouble.
Jesus, thank you. I wanted Damola to touch on this very quickly. Also because I know about Mercury, and I know that you have your experience on this space, and get sourcing money.
I think I'll start with some context. When venture capitalists come, they're not looking for 20 or 40%, return on their investment. they're not looking for 70%. Sometimes they're looking for 300%. Some are crazy to think that they're going to get 500%. I'm correct. Yeah. So that aside, when you see your tech friends announce that they've raised money, before you congratulate them, pray for them. Because some are rogue, right? I know, I hear, I don't know them. I hear some of them collect this money, go and build shortlist somewhere. But that money, right, is even better you take a loan, debt, equity. That money, they're giving you with the assumption that you know how to 20x that money. They're doing it with the assumption that by the next funding round, if you're valued at $1 million when they funded you, that the next funding round you'll be valued at 20, right? You need to, it's mathematics, it's not vibes. This thing is pure mathematics. So again, I think I'm happy she has just debunked the fact that SMEs don't need venture. And I dare say that many tech companies should not go near it, right? Especially when you're in a market like this, right? The potential for growth, venture capital is assuming that this bottle, when they put the money on it, it will be the size of a GP tank. That's the assumption of venture capital. Unfortunately, there are many businesses that when the venture capital money comes in, the expectation is GP tank, but the best it will come out as is the 25-liter jerry can. And at that point, you are dead as a business. Sorry to sound morbid, but that's what happens, right? And I've observed this and I've seen it over and over again. More business die from collecting venture capital than from struggling. So in the tech space now, I think it's even wiser. Sometimes you don't need to pursue unicorn status. You can be a gazelle. I'm serious. You don't need to be a unicorn. The most important thing, your unit economics. Are you making enough money to pay you? Even if you raise, right? Even if you have to raise, right? The amount of money that you are, taking from the capital should not be, at least just try. It should not be, the money that you are making should make up for maybe 70% of your operating cost. If you can, just try. So that, because startups are actually entrepreneurial experiments. It's not the word of God. It can fail. It can fail. I'm not joking. You are going there with the assumption that this new thing that you're doing will work. There's a very popular new bank in Nigeria. I know this because I'm close to some people there. They raised money. They smashed their targets in naira. But they raised in dollars. And the investors don't want to hear that you're using okra to take conflicts. That's your problem. They want to see their dollars back. So they were doing well as a business, but the investment economics were working against them.
Thank you, Dabola. Thank you very much. And this is the last question from the panel session, and then I'll take a couple of questions that the audience already sent, and I know some of us have questions. So please, I think some of our team members are around. You can please pass your questions to them very quickly, and I'll take a couple of them as well, and then we'll be done. I really want us to get out of here as soon as possible. All right, so this is the last question for me. I'm still on this, but it's like a different version, right? As for you in particular, who's done a business, who's running a business, when you started, did you raise funds from friends or family? Did you take a loan? I don't know, how did you, when you get a partner who wants to then give you as much, where do you go? How did that work for you?
Okay, so my story, how did I start? I started with my NYC Alawi, right? Then I also had family members donate one item or the other. So I had one of my uncles who lives abroad. I told him what I wanted to start, right? He sent the first set of jars that I needed to start my shea butter business. I told my mom about the equipment I needed. She went to the supermarket, bought it for me, right? And then raw materials, I was able to get cash for that. But gratefully for me, I'd also applied for grants, for trainings that have kind of like expanded my mind in how to manage funds. Right from the first time I started business, one of the things they told us then, so I started my entrepreneurial business story, blah, blah, in Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. They had an entrepreneurial class that I went for. And they had said to us then, your business money is different from your own personal funds. Pay yourself a salary. As far back as 2015, I was already paying myself a salary from the small business I had at the time, right? So those things kind of like helped me manage funds, put profits back into the business to grow and to do other things, right? And then there are times when, as entrepreneurs, you hear of opportunities based on the association that you belong in. So I heard of the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund grant. I applied for that and got it. I heard of the World Bank Women X Scholarship, where we had an educational training at EDC, Enterprise Development Center. I applied for that. There, I got more business knowledge where I could implement on my business. I also got the US Consulate's Academy for Women Entrepreneurs. We had a pitch there too as well. So these are places where it is that they may not give you cash, right? But what they're giving you is worth more than somebody giving you $100 billion. Because if you don't get the sense, you go spend and go waste them, right? So the knowledge that you need is very, very, very important as an entrepreneur. So there are many stories of trainings, grants that I've gotten, even as basic. In fact, there was a particular grant that I got from Toke Makiwa. She had put up I'm doing unbecoming business grant. I went, I pitched, and I got ₦1 million. By the Wednesday of they've credited my account. Nobody disturbed my life, and all that. So there are things that happen like that in the SME space, MSME space, that we need to be aware of. They've spoken about the big investors, right? But there are smaller ones that as you're starting out, you can actually begin to pay attention to, because those things give you leverage over time. If somebody comes and says, okay, Toby, this is your business. I'm looking for, do you need $1 billion? Obviously, the sense I have now is able to manage the funds. So I think that for entrepreneurs, please don't just look for money. Engage your mind, learn, and build on it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Very interesting points you've raised here. One about like you can source for grants for knowledge, right? Not only grant to increase that business, Also, friends and family funding is because what your mother did for you and your uncle, that's friends and family raising.
Oh,
right?
yes. And
they raised jar, they raised supermarkets run. That's expense.
And I started in the guest room in my parents' house. So my dad also did rent for me for free. So
But one thing I think stands out for me there is you should talk about the things that you do, because you don't know where you could get that support from. Don't keep it to yourself alone trying to get that idea. So thank you very much. And literally this rounds up our panel session. We're going into questions from the audience now. I'm just going to read one while I get the rest from my colleagues. And I have to read some because I just found it very funny but interesting. The person says, in retail, what is the best approach to curb theft among staff? It feels like a question from Pain, where you are stuck in. I know someone who told the story that he ran a bakery and he never made profit once till the bakery closed. He was selling bread regularly, but no money was coming in. So, Toby, I don't know if
Okay,
The best approach to curb thefts.
okay, I have a
Stuff.
personal
Okay.
experience, and Toby can. So, so in 2012, yeah, 2012, yeah. So I bought a franchise. I don't know if you know this brand called Subway. Yeah, so I bought a franchise of Subway, and then we opened up, and at the time it was one of the biggest stores in that region in London, and I started with a staff strength of about 12, and they were from different nationalities because my game was whatever nationality you are. Yeah, what I'll tell you the story of Nigerians, but yeah, but my game was whatever nationality you are. You when you come in, you find someone who can relate. So I had Indians, English people. Then I had the unfortunate incidents of getting my Nigerian part of that sect, and so we finally started, and then guess who comes late? Yeah, I had two Nigerians actually, a guy and a girl. The guy literally, we open up at 7. The guy shows up at 9, drunk. Yes, and this is not I'm not stereotyping at all, and they don't represent even a sample size of Nigerians. I'm just telling you my personal experience, and the lady who was the other Nigerian was about to go into uni, so she was working. And then one day I got a call from her dad saying, oh yeah, she can't work again because she's pregnant and she has to leave school and all of that. But I say that to say that I then got broke into, like, properly, robbery. One night somebody broke into the store and went for the safe, because normally when you transact till Friday, you have to bank on Monday. So went for the safe and took all the money. And all of this happened in 3 minutes. Now, I started with Nigerians, yeah, but guess who orchestrated that? It was the English people I had got there. I had a assistant manager at the time who had a boyfriend. So, and she knows the code to the safe, and then wrote the code and put it somewhere in the store. And then the boyfriend broke into the store, went for the code, opened up. Yeah. Guess who called me in the morning that the store was broken into? My assistant manager. And guess 2 hours down the line, guess who came into the store asking, Ade, I heard your store was broken into. With the same backpack he came into the store to pick the money with. Now here was what happened, because when he broke in, the code was written clearly in bold letters, and it was in the handwriting of my manager, who everybody knew. Unfortunately, he forgot that on the floor. So anyways, the CCTV told the whole story. At 9 a.m. I saw the same person who stole from me coming in to ask, But the sad part of that story was the guy was dead in 6 months. And nothing to do with the store, because no, nothing to do with the store. Unfortunately for him, he went into prison for something else he did, and then he got raped in the story was, it was very gory. And then he committed suicide. That's how he passed. And so that's theft in itself. But theft, as you said, is with the staff, because Subway sells food. So, and you have 10 people. So I had to make a decision on the fact that if you put very strict timelines on don't touch, you're setting yourself up. Okay, so the first thing I did was, see, dude, food is free. Eat it. But what I do not want is waste. Okay? And I devised, and this is for small business owners, because again, that's a small business. I only need to be in my store for 2 minutes and I can tell the story. The first thing I check when I come into the store is the bin. You ask me why. Okay, so what story does the bin tell you for a fruit seller? Okay, so if the bin is full and I get to the till and you say we haven't done business, You see where that's coming from. Now, what the bean also tells me is if I'm seeing in the bean, I'm seeing half-eaten sandwiches. People are not finishing their bill. What does it say to me? There's a product quality issue going on. Somebody is over portioning or there's something going off. So that gives me a quality issue. And the third thing is if the papers, the wrappers, because when you sandwich, the wrappers are, you have to wrap it. So the normal eating habit is once you finish, you squeeze it and stuff. So if I'm seeing more wrappers that are clean looking, what does it tell me? That so from the bean alone, I know that shit is going down. Then the next place I go is the back, where the bean, the bigger bean is, because that's where you see the empty bottles or the things they're hiding to take home when they're ready to go. And the third place, the final place I go is the till, because the bean has told me a story, the back bean has told me a story, then the till has to match that. If it's not matching, we have a big problem. So it's about the balance of being humane and also still being a business person. Because for a food business, your money is in two places, three places actually. Either your pocket or in the hands of your vendors, because you have to keep buying, or in the fridge. And that will shock you because a lot of business, just like you said, in cash flow is negative, but open their freezer. You see, well, the money is frozen in there. So for whatever business you do, you have to understand that waste, as Michelle said. No matter how much it's not about how much you're making. It's how much is being retained for you even to be able to buy the next set of products or even be more profitable. And a lot of small business concentrate on that virality. I'm just selling. You know, people come on social media and say, oh, I've done a 1 million turnover. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But how much of that 1 million, you know, is sitting, you know, in a space where you can use to improve or increase your business? So be humane as a business developer, business owner. Be strict. But more importantly, you have to understand the street sense behind the kind of business you do. Insight is important. And the more you continue to go by just rules and policies, that works. But at a time, look, if you, I'm talking too much now, yeah? I'll round up with this. You're recruiting. And one of your biggest traits as a business owner is punctuality. But your business is in Lekki and you're recruiting somebody who comes from Ogun State. Do you understand? Now, in terms of qualification, that guy might be the best you've interviewed. So he qualifies. But the environmental factors is not going to allow him deliver the way you want him to deliver. So the business conditions are always changing. Now you have an average person who lives in Lekki. Average. He can do the job, but he's average. But you have a stunning candidate who lives in Ikorodu. You know, normal business will say, which would you go for? Ikorodu or Lekki? No, normal. You go for the best person. Now the best person has issues because he's in traffic 3 hours a day. So we have to kind of play more with data and insight. There's a difference between recruiting a firstborn and a lastborn. I'll leave that with you.
Thank you so much, Adi. Thank you. Who, Adi? Adi?
You know that quote that he dropped last? You know when they quote, they'll now put Ade 2026. That belongs to him. Thank you, Ade. That was really, really spot on. So for an MSME, right, do something called SOPs, Standard Operating Procedures, early enough. As you are that one man, know that if you put 2 kg of shea butter and 500 ml of XYZ, it will produce this quantity of jars for you. Now, what that would do for you is that at the end of the day, you're able to see what your staff has produced, right? When you do that, as they're resuming, when they start working with you, say, okay, this is our process. Maybe the HR person does it. This is our process. We know that when you produce XYZ, this is what you are expected to produce. You give them a range between this and this, so that if it's at the lower range, you still give them a bit of allowance for error. Say, okay, I don't want story, let me just leave this one for God, right? You give them that allowance. And I said this because it will give you peace of mind at the end of the day, right? When you know that this is the minimum you can get, and anything below that, you begin to, because sometimes SMEs, MSMEs, we were still trying to put processes in place, camera, web, CCTV, this one. I'm talking to the, like, you want to live here now and you want to start your business, right? Because they've spoken to the, the conglomerates. We were, so you can do that, such that at the end of the day, you are able to tell what it is for you. And building on the SOPs, right? You can also give them time to have conversations with you. Don't be I'm the Lord and Master here. Have conversations with them. Make your environment such that it is welcoming for them. And I know that even with all of these things, the people will still go do. There are some professionals, even put CCTV here like this, they will take it, you will not see it. Do you get? So please, but at the end of the day, as an MSME, create your SOP ahead of time. And it works also with services as well, such that if you know that if you sit down in front of your system, you're able to build a XYZ website, a WordPress website for XYZ hours, right? Because you've lived it, you've gotten information, right? Such that when somebody is telling you that, sir, there is this one delay, there's that one, if it's not internet, any other thing, because we know how, internet can be. If it's any other thing, you can tell that, no, this is the average time, what's happening? And then you're not going with, you are working for somebody else, you're doing, what's happening? Have a conversation with them, because at the end of the day, I realize that these people are also humans. What is the issue? Why are they stealing? It might just be sir, I just needed 5 products so that my child can pay for school fees. So in that reasoning, you are able to say, okay, so if this person's school fees is sorted, this person will stop doing this, right? So you can actually take off that responsibility, and you can even do a payment plan. Pay in advance. At the end of the month, you can, pay small back. There are many ways by which these things can be addressed, but at the end of the day, you just realize that you can't. Yes, there's some things that you just have to be open to and listen out before you understand. However, like I said earlier, there are still some dons that will still, right? It's those dons. If you find the dons in your, what do? You call police now? Or what?
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll just let you guys add on this, and Michelle, I'll let you take the questions from the audience. Sorry, before you add, we're really, so I'm a strong believer in timeliness. I've been checking my watch because it's past 12, and I really wanted to end at 12. So we'll not take every single question, but we've created, please follow us on social media. We're going to really put out the full video. We would have a question and answer video as well that will answer some of these questions that you've also sent in. We'll create them so you can get answers as well, because I really want people to go to their houses. We'll take yours and then we'll take them aloud.
I'll be short so we can take other questions. I think, well spoken. Just to also add, I would say 2 things that can also be done. Staff welfare. So you spoke about super staff. So you can think about staff accommodation, or just how you can support your staff. Staff loans, healthcare, all of those things. But I think what I think is very important is driving entrepreneurship. So I've seen clients of mine so there was one who was like a recycling manufacturing company. She basically recycles pet bottles, and they exports it. So what she does is, rather than just paying her drivers flat, right? So she does like a blended salary structure where you have, maybe you get a flat amount, and then based on the number of, how full your truck is and how frequent you are able to deliver in a day, you get paid. So you now see all of them competing. I need to deliver, and you're not getting issues of truckers spoiled. So they are doing their own side deal because in their mind. The same thing, I have another client who is into the contract manufacturing where women are filling the bottle. So it's almost like if you're able to fill, the more bottles you're able to fill, you get your flat, but then you get a commission. So you have to drive ownership. It's our business. If we don't sell, we don't make money. So let them tie into the vision. And I think that's a lot of issue we have in Nigerians are so we're so competitive with ourselves that we don't believe in collaboration. But somebody is in your business, you can go. I would rather own 10% in the $1 billion business than 100% in 100 million. What's my business with 100? So if you think about it, as these are my food soldiers, if we kill, we eat. Not just every. You get a. I said I was going to be short. You get you close a deal of 1 trillion, you pay your staff bonus of 5 million. You close a deal of 100 million, you pay your staff 100,000, and they're looking at you that they know. So why don't you say, I give you 10%? So they think any money that we close, 10% of it is mine. Trust me, they will do the work for you.
Thank you. Perfect. I love. It reminds me of something my head of HR here says. It says that you want to reward people, reward them in public. If you are punishing, also punish in public. Both drives motivation for the people. All right, Michelle, we'll take 3 questions and then we were out of
All
here.
right. Okay. But I'll pick just a few. All right. Okay, so this is somewhat together. So I'll just ask together. Okay, from a service point of view, like educational service, what are the available funding opportunities that can be explored? There's another similar one, so I'll just read that as well. What is the basic idea one should have when seeking funding for businesses that have to do with art? Art like film production or music production, especially film production, because I feel it's high risk. So 2 in 1, but still about funding.
So this is funding for arts, funding for education.
Education, yes. Michelle, that's for you.
Take the education first, right? So with education, you have a student base. So obviously some sort of cash flow. Students are, so if you have a very clear understanding of what your student population is, I believe that you can explore bank financing. Because if the school is your, you own the property, that's collateral that you can leverage. You can also explore equity as well. If your margins are low and you also want to maybe use the funding to expand, you can explore equity, you can explore debt. So it also depends on the size of the school. So if the school is doing decent turnover, doing decent margins, you can explore both bank debt and we've also seen private equity investors. Private equity fund I worked in at the time invested in a Ghanaian primary and secondary school. So yes, private equity, but they have to be more mature. So at least 5 years operating track record, stable cash flows. So you have to, and for you to explore this, you have to have some level of cash flow predictability. So if you are in year 1, year 2, because that doesn't really show the pattern, it might be too early to take debt. So again, it goes back to what's your business stage, what's your business model. So if you're a school that has been in operations for at least 5 years and you can say, okay, every term we get about 20 million naira, you should be able to take a loan that maybe requires you to pay 1 million or 2 million every month. When you do your operating expense, if you have some room, you can take a debt. So again, it's not a one size fits all. You have to go back to what works for you as a business. What can your cash flow sustain? What is your collateral? Your collateral base. Now for art is, the creative sector is quite interesting, and we've seen some. I know that Afrexim is having some sort of solutions around creative sector. So when you're thinking about arts, you're thinking about licensing income. You're thinking about IP protection. So I've seen clients where, they have like maybe a contract from Netflix, a contract from Netflix to produce. That's bankable. You can take it to, we've even seen finance houses, we've even seen banks that are willing to finance. I know BOI has a creative sector fund. So it's all about understanding the ultimate assets here. A stream of cash flow is the Netflix contract. So I'll say that if you are like you produce TV, I've had a client who actually does TV shows like all these your Who Wants to Be a Millionaire type. I think his own is something about kids daring each other. I can't remember the exact name, but he basically produces TV shows for like your multinationals, like your Flour Mill, your Nigerian breweries, and basically has a purchase order. So basically, we are able to securitize the purchase order to raise money. In terms of artworks as well, artworks can be tricky. So if you're able to maybe get a gallery to basically sort of, take some sort of ownership stake, you can tie it back to cash flow. So I think that is very tricky, but it's doable. Yeah. In fact, I think VFD has something for art. It's called Splits. Yes, for art.
I would let my people will talk about some of this that will maybe answer that question in detail.
I hope this was able to provide some context.
It was. Let me pick from one of the questions online. Many startups are founded by one person, but they need a team to grow. How do you get people to buy into your vision and work with you when you don't have the resources to pay salaries? And once the business starts making money, how do you determine when and how team members should be compensated or given equity?
Okay.
Ade, that question is for you.
On this side.
Exactly. It's for both of you.
We need 1 minute, 1.5 tops.
Should I read the question again?
I got the gist. I think it's two-sided, because on one side you've got the founder, and then the other side you've got the worker. I think the first thing to determine, going back to recruitment, just as we were saying, you must understand as a founder what approach you want to take. And I think that should reflect in the insights of how you get people on board, first of all. Because there's no how you're going to tell that story to somebody who is trying to find a job to be able to pay his rent. Let's be real. The economy is what it is. So if you're bringing, again, it also depends on the kind of business you're doing. So if you're going to a lot of high-end businesses, just like as Michelle said, the vision is also bankable in the minds of the people you're bringing in. Okay, tech is great. Now there's all kinds of tech startups. But before, when there were not too many, that's also bankable. Okay, but for me to say that I want to open a sandwich shop and I'm saying I'm going to give you 10% in 2.5 years, that might be tricky. So again, it depends on the terrain you're playing in as a founder. It also depends on what drives the people you're bringing in. If it's long-term, if it's short-term. That's why I said earlier, even as a business owner, you have to be honest with yourself. Am I doing this business to survive? Or I'm doing this business to grow it into a generational legacy? Yeah, you have to be real, because we're not real as business people. I saw a clip somewhere saying that, funny clip, this guy is saying, oh, you're complaining you're 9 to 5, that you don't have work-life balance. Now you became an entrepreneur. Your life is about to balance the other way. So it's about what drives you, what drives the people you're bringing in. If that aligns, then you can have those conversations. And now, people buy into leadership. They buy into the person, not essentially what you're saying. So even in workplace, they would lay down policies, but if you as a leader are not leading from the front, then it's just paper.
Yeah, true.
And guess what? Somebody else, you're promising somebody a salary to start up and then equity as you go on. And there comes another company who poaches that person and says, whatever they're promising you, will give you in salary right now.
Yeah, and we'll double it.
So
right.
It's a tricky one, and I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all in this, but I think values must align for that conversation to be effective.
Thank you.
Until
Ade.
that's...
Thank you. Obaru, one more question. You promised me 3. Okay, last question. What exactly does restructuring entail? What, how, and why? What are we to change to sustain and support growth when we want to scale a business? It's a lot, right? It's a mouthful.
So-
Should I read that again? Okay. What exactly does restructuring entail? What, how, and why? What are we to change to sustain and support growth when we want to scale as a business? Make sure you're nodding your head.
So I think for me, right, I'll just talk through an investment readiness framework, right? So so a simple, memorable framework that you can just use to
please
guide
listen.
you. So the capital framework. So C, can your business continue to generate cash flow? So that's very important. We don't need to all describe what cash flow is, but we know operating cash flow, not financing cash flow, very critical. When you generate revenue and you take out your costs, can you be profitable? Is it sustainable? The second one is A, advantage. What is going to make a customer continue patronizing you? So what is your moat? What is your value proposition? What is your differentiating aspects? Are you leveraging AI? Is it a geographical strategy? What exactly differentiates you from the other SME down the road? The other one's P, processes. So in terms of processes, you are looking at how can this business function beyond the owner and the founder? Because again, remember, you're looking at a business there's so many things that happen. So you have to think about your operational robustness. Without you, do they need you before they can procure? Do they need you before trades can be executed? So it's important, your risk, how you identifying risk, how are you controlling and managing those risks? Policy, she's spoken about SOP. So just making sure that the strategy is repeatable and enforceable over time. So the other one is, I've said CAPI, information. So how accurate and reliable is your financial? So you can't say you want to raise money, you don't have financial statements. And even financial statements is a different conversation. So I've had situations where clients of mine will say they want to raise money, they don't have financial statements, we have to commission an audit. I've had situations where they even have financial statements, it's grossly poor accounting. Is it that they're understating their liabilities and their cost, or they're overstating their revenues and their asset base? So it's important that you have, even banks today, even if you submit your financial statement, they will ask you for your bank statements, because the likelihood of you creating fictitious number is, you can't go to your bank and say, show me what I didn't enter. I mean, people still have ways to do it, but banks rely on that. So it's very important that you have good quality numbers. The second one I would say is, so that was T is trust. So governance, how do you decide? What is your decision authority structure? Who decides? How do you enforce? Credibility, bankability, reputation. When I was in private equity, before we invest, we like to invest in companies that have secured funding from the bank. So once you become ready, I would say partner with a bank, because it gives you it signals credibility. If you've gotten money from a bank, from a finance house like Rem Money, it signals you are able to take a loan and pay back. We look at businesses like that. We also go and talk to suppliers. We talk to advisors. So how does this person behave? Do they pay on time? All these trends we look at. So these are ways you can build credibility and reputation as a business. So that was T. Then the other one is A, access. What structures are you putting in place to access capital, partners, and customers? I think customer is king. Without no customer, there's no business. So how are you treating your customers? I mean, I think it's a very ridiculous policy that I buy something from you, I come back to you and tell me that there's no return policy. In fact, I can't even tell you the number of vendors I've fought with, and I'll say I'm never going to buy again. But it's so painful. So customer experience, I think that's something, there's an opportunity for you to do something in Nigeria, because it is really, really critical. And then the last one is leadership. Who is behind the company? Because again, whilst you invest in a business, it's really the vision. And when I talk about process, I'm going to go back to, so I spoke about risk, business continuity. Like the key man risk, you shouldn't have one person that is the all in all. If that, God forbid, if that business, I'm going to use an example that might not be the best, but we know a popular bank that lost. Imagine if there was a key man risk, that bank will have, share price will have gone. So it's very important that you have strong cash flows, have a strong competitive advantage, processes in place, information, reliable, accurate information. What is it again? PI, trust, and then access and leadership. So think about the capital framework.
Please give a round of applause, please. That was powerful.
All right. Please, another round of applause for the panelists. Everyone, please. I want to say a big thank you to every one of you, Michelle, Luatobi, Damola, Ade, for your time. This, even for me, unfortunately, I don't have mine. I couldn't take. There's a video recording, right? So
yes, there is.
But it was an amazing session. I want to say a big thank you. And with this, we'll come to the end of the panel session.
Yes.
We would excuse you. Your questions will be answered.
Yes.
I assure you, they will be answered. We will also maybe share some of their business handles and whatnot on our socials in case you want to learn more about what they do. I know, for example, Ade runs a whole consumer experience page where he's trying to really teach people a lot about that. So we'll share as much information as possible. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pictures, okay. So
yes, please, pictures. Yes. Guys, don't worry, we're almost done. Just a few more minutes and then we'll be out of here. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Obaro. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. We're about to end today's session, but I'd like to quickly invite the head of SME Payments and Banking, Chukwemeka Oti. A couple of us have had questions about SMEs, what kind of loan I should take, what kind of businesses can be trusted, and all of that. So he'll just, in a few minutes, talk to us about the Remoni SME business. Thank you, Emeka.
Hello, guys. Hi. Please, can you give a round of applause for yourselves? Thank you. So the panelists have done a great job, but listening to everything they have said, what keeps coming to my mind is that to be an entrepreneur, you're pretty much a superhero because the landscape, the challenges, it's tough. And this is something we have always known at Remoni. And I mean, for the longest time, we've been supporting businesses. We've been giving out business loans. We've been giving out loans for inventory financing, LPO financing, working capital loans. But loans on its own is not enough. So that's the reason why right now we're building out the daily banking experience for businesses. We're creating business communities to support you as you thrive, as you scale, and as you grow. Because we know that the challenges that you face is not just access to credit alone. The daily reality of running a business on its own, it's a lot. You need to know what the data from your business is telling you. You need to sort out payments. You need to sort out your suppliers. You need advisory services on how best to approach the challenges as you scale. So that's why at Remoni, our ambition is simple. We want to win and continually have your trust and work with you as your partner on your journey, your business journey to growth. We've launched a Remoni Business Founders Program where we would be considering the participants in this Business Mastery Series as the first set of customers who would have early access to the products that we're building around you, banking daily, and solving other problems that businesses have outside of access to loans alone. We want to build with you, not just for you. If you heard the panelists, you've heard about how the voice of the customer is very important. And we genuinely want to know what will make your businesses easy as it thrives and as it grows. And at every stage, what unique needs you have that we need to bridge for your business to get to the next level. So you will be hearing from us, we'll be engaging, we'll be sharing access to the new product features that we're building. But the key message is that we do not just want to keep giving you just loans alone. We want to help you in other areas where you face business challenges to be your trusted partner that takes you where you're going. I mean, you heard Michelle when she spoke about how you need a bank partner. There are so many issues. You need cash flow visibility. You are doing well, but it's not documented. You go to collect access to credit. No one wants to give you access to finance. So this and a lot more you would be seeing. We'll be engaging you. We'll be giving you access to the new products we're building. And we'll be giving you an opportunity to follow and co-create what would work best for your businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emeka. Thank you so much. I mean, we already have your contact details, so we'll reach out to you specifically for those who attended the session today. Like you said, we'll reach out and we'll speak to you about our product offerings. Thank you, guys. Please take pictures. Please post on your Instagram handles, Facebook, Remoney, and tag us Remoney NG, Remoney NG, Remoney, everywhere you go, please. All right. I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. It was such a pleasure having you guys, seeing you physically for the first time. The next one will be online, right? Of course. Thank you so much for coming. We are grateful, and we hope that you had a great time. Have a safe trip back home today. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
The land is green, it's green, oh, oh. The land is green, it's green, can't you see? I can see all the harvest is ready, 'cause he told me so. It's green and it's all mine. As the clouds go gray, on the roars and the earth sings. The season's just beginning. Sunlight it hides as the clouds make way. From the pouring out my blessings, I will not be afraid. I see it now, I understand.